This is your 12-strand RNA DNA. And as you can see, it's connected together to form a heart-like energy. The basis of all of this, after all, is love, and there's 12 of them. This is a 12th strand. And this, once again, represents those same strands that we were talking about. And it forms this marvelous star tetrahedron. And that if you were to see it, you'd see all these colors there. It would be like looking at an aura. It's constantly flickering, constantly changing colors. It's a beautiful process. One of these days, I would really love to be able to get an animation of this. Okay, now we're going to talk about star seeds. Do you want to say anything, sweetheart, before I get into that?
Sure. So we are running out of time, so I'm going to make it quick. You can ask yourself these questions to see if you are a star seed. Do you feel that you are not of this earth, not fitting in or belonging ever since you were a little child? Do you feel that people do not know or understand who you really are, or that they would think you crazy if you told them what you have experienced, felt, sensed, know, or believe to be true? Do you have a sense of having lived other lives before or even concurrently now? Are you fascinated with science fiction, fantasy, and extraterrestrial phenomenon? Do you feel that you are special, unique, and unconventional? Are you struggling to discover or manifest a greater purpose in your life? We hear that from all of you, that you feel like you're supposed to be doing something more, and you're waiting for that moment when it all is revealed. Are you a dreamer, a visionary, a spiritualist, an idealist, a psychic, an empath, or artistic? Have you had unusual, nonlinear, non-rational, spiritual, or psychic experiences that are incongruous with the normal reality of the material world? Are you acutely sensitive and affected by the conditions of people and things happening around you? That one is really getting people lately, the star seeds and light workers. It's hard for you to go into the crowds sometimes now, or the loud noises, or the pollution. So that's on the rise for all of us. Do you care very deeply, wholeheartedly for the fate of this planet and the human race? Are you willing to sacrifice all that you have for a cause you believe in? And if you said yes to most of those, then you're most likely a star seed. So because of time, let's just continue on, shall?
Okay. Okay, as you can see here, star seeds are individuals who feel excitement and longing upon learning that they might originate from another world. And they experience aloneness, separateness, but they also have a sense of being foreigners. You constantly feel like you don't belong. This is something that I have had since I was a little child. It's something that Colleen and a lot of other people that know me kind of find funny, is that I am puzzled and totally illogic feeling about things that are commonplace in this society. I'm like a person from China, rural China, who's suddenly been put in the middle of Manhattan. That's the way I feel sometimes. In fact, I feel most of the time. Starseeds are often reluctant to become involved in the institutions of our society, and you tend to understand the hidden agendas of anything going on around you with very great clarity. So starseeds describe evolved beings from another planet or star system or galaxy, whatever, who have come here to help planet Earth achieve her next golden age, which is a permanent golden age. And starseeds incarnate into the same conditions. We have the amnesia. I was just lucky because I was trained by the Syrians to be able to have the immediate wake-up call when I was a kid and use that information to help others understand what's going on with their lives. So starseeds really are people who exist in the stars but have come here to help us all. I like this little picture. That's why I threw it in there. So we are all awakening at our different rates, and we have a great connection, as it says here, to the higher self, and are also strengthened, and this permits us to be largely guided by our inner knowing. And so We have missions to help one another, and because of that, the concepts of starships, intergalactic travel, various psychic phenomena, and sentient life forms that can be found all through the galaxy are, of course, natural and logical to us. And an example of this is this ship. And let me get my little arrow. This is a Pleiadian atmospheric starship that was mothership that was put together, allowed by people to get a picture of it. And you can see this up close. You can see the portholes where the ships come in and out. This is a huge ship, by the way. You know, it's like a mile from here all the way to the other end. So it's not exactly small. And this is like over a half mile long. So it's very close. It's very close, but you can see how big then these particular things are. It's hard to get a look at it and figure out the perspective when you're just looking at a craft from a certain distance and you have nothing against you, just have sky. You can't figure out how big it really is. Now, before I get into the great shift, do you want to talk about anything more, sweetheart, or else I will continue forward?
Continue forward.
Okay. Okay, we are moving to full consciousness. We are limited conscious beings. That means there still exists a concept in our reality that physical matter exists and that spiritual matter, or whatever the spiritual realms are, exists within our minds, but we cannot see them, quote unquote. What happens is we are moving to full consciousness where we can see them. So what is happening is a shift in our mind, our body, and our spirit. As we just explained with the RNA, DNA, our entire mind, our entire brain is made up of RNA, DNA. It's shifting, and as it shifts, we are becoming more aware that there's more to our reality than the physical aspects that we see around us every day. So the result is we are shifting in chakras, shifting in aura. This is a picture of an aura. The new chakras are being gradually integrated into this new whole. This transformation operation is approaching the point for direct physical adjustments by our galactic human mentors just before you change into being fully conscious beings like a butterfly, a metamorphosis. Now, what is happening? This is the system that you normally see in all the different books and magazines you would read about chakras. This is the seven chakra system. What we are moving to, as I showed you at the beginning, is this system. So what's happening is there's a new redistribution of the body's energy systems. So as you see, there's a diaphragm system, there's a thymus setting up, there's a well of dreams, and there's also this galactic male and female energies, which means that the male and female energies in you that are not fully balanced yet are totally balanced in a fully conscious being, and you can use your female aspects and your male aspects to figure out, problem solve creatively what's ever happening to you or around you. Now, what's happening then? As I said, there's changes. The diaphragm is still being adjusted in most people. The diaphragm is important because that is where all your anxieties, your fears, your worries wind up right in here. And you usually wind up with it getting tied up in a knot. And I have had one of those for a long time, and it's now being relieved. What also happens is the heart chakra is beginning to change. The upper heart, as it was been called in many, many systems that talk about the old seven chakra system, the thymus center is opening up and separating, so it is creating in you a much more powerful system of allowing for an immunity system against any forms of disease, and I use the word dis-ease, to occur in your body that can cause problems, such as colds, serious medical health problems, etc. What is happening is also in your head. You have the head chakras are opening up, the most important of which is the well of dreams. The well of dreams allows you to visualize, to see on levels higher than just the system around us, which is the physical world. We begin to then interact with the world of spirit. So, the system also is causing changes in our heart chakra. As the heart increases its vibratory rates and as it separates from the thymus center, you can have problems like heart pains and odd breathing episodes that can occur. There's also changes in the head chakra, which can lead to headaches, nausea, and periods of forgetfulness. And as the system comes in, it can cause vision to blur. If you have these problems, of course, see whatever alternative medical or any medical person you work with to look at what's happening and to see that these problems are just not really medical serious health problems, but are just problems about the changing in who and what you are becoming. Now, let's look at the head. The key point, as we said, well of dreams. It's affecting the pituitary system. It's affecting all the various systems that occur around it, such as the pineal. So you have the universal male and female, and you have the crown chakra. So what is happening is this double antenna is occurring in you, which is almost like an inverted way of putting together this Star of David, star tetrahedron in your head. What that antenna does is it allows you to adjust to all the different realities that exist around you. And you then become able to peek into the spiritual realms as well as the physical realms. And so this is being adjusted, and it's now integrating in a very way. It's like you can see here, this is the old ajna center, this is the new pituitary center, and this is the well of dreams. Your mind is being rewired, and that's why you'll get headaches and nausea, etc. Now, our DNA is transmuting both in a number of strands, which you just talked about, and epigenetics. Epi simply means above. What is happening is you are getting an epigenetic component. Now, past generations went through periods of mass stress or some sudden thing that happened that affected them deeply, like, for instance, the Black Plague in Europe in the 13th century. So what happens now, you begin deeply to resequence yourself, and you pass that on to other generations. During the course of your lifetime, you may also have other things similar to that, and it will cause resequencing. So what has to happen when you become fully conscious is devices have to be put around you that allow you to resequence yourself into becoming a fully conscious being. And another thing that's happening, which is also causes sometimes pains in your body, is because there's a commingling between the meridian system of the body and the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. This new greater nervous system is one that can react to stimulus super quick in ways that you cannot now perceive. And so all 206 meridians are to become active, and one with your present sympathetic and parasympathetic system. This is an example of the meridian system. And then you just tie that into the parasympathetic and sympathetic systems, and you would see how they all interact with one another. So the divine plan has moved up the schedule for our move into full consciousness. We are on the verge of first contact and the dawning of this new reality. So let's look at the Earth and see the Earth changes. Mother Earth is determined to alter her surface features by seeing a return to the way she looked at the time of Lemuria. This means bringing up 3 sunken continents, Lemuria, Atlantis, and Greater Sri Lanka. Now here is an example of what we're talking about. That's a nice little map that was done. This is Lemuria here and here. This is Atlantis. This is Sri Lanka. And there are tectonic plates around here, and that's what caused problems here. We'll talk about that in the next webinar. So we also have discovered that Sri Lanka existed, and that, or Greater Sri Lanka as I like to call it, and it actually has been found by many Indian scientists who were interested in it because of the Vedic literature. Did it really exist? And they discovered that indeed there are, the way the sunken meadows and plateaus of the seabed of the Indian Ocean are, indeed there once was a continent of this size, roughly this outline, that existed and was tied into present-day Madagascar, which is why Madagascar is noted for some of the most primitive and the almost unbelievable amount of lemurs that exist on the planet. Now, each of the 3 continents occupy a large part of what is now empty sea. If you look back here, you can see, well, where Atlantis is most of the Atlantic Ocean. Where Lemuria is most of the northern and central Pacific Ocean. Where Sri Lanka is a large part of the Indian Ocean. Also, climate is to become semi-tropical from pole to pole, return to heaven on earth. This is the archetypical divine way the surface of the planet would look once we have everything.